this next lesson, we're going to create a very simple journal using some of the papers that we pulled together. You can make this any size. It can be tiny, it can be large. I'm just going to teach you a very simple pamphlet stitch in order to put everything together. So I have a little stack of paper, and then I have a piece of embroidery floss, a bone folder, and an awl, which I think you can probably just use a needle if you don't have one, depending on the thickness of your paper. I still have some of my portraits I may add in there, and then a few little pieces of ephemera. So, oh, and I have some artist tape, because I'm going to show you what to do with if your paper is delicate and it's falling apart. And then we may, I have a little bit of Yes paste here because I'm going to do something to the cover. So I have already planned this out a little bit just to make it, you know, a little bit quicker for you. So I have pulled together, I have some vintage paper, I have a little piece of inexpensive watercolor paper, a piece of tracing paper, a small piece of paper from my book, watercolor paper, more vintage paper, and this is from the vintage book. And what I did was I coated it with clear gesso on both sides in case I want to do something, and it also preserves the paper. So if you're going to be adding water, like if you're going to do a sketch and charcoal and add water, you want to put a little bit of clear gesso, and I use the Liquitex clear gesso, which is in the classroom resources. So I'm going to show you, this is going to be my cover, and I want the inside cover to be a little sturdy because that's where the needle is going to kind of poke through. I don't want a delicate piece of paper in the middle. So what's going to happen, because this piece of paper is quite old, it's going to crack, but I still want to use it because I like the color. And so I'm just going to fold it in half and just gently press down. And you can see it cracking, I think. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to crease it. Just one time. And it's all falling apart, but that's okay. So then I'm going to take a piece of this artist tape and I'm going to reinforce it. I like having a little sketchbook or journal for all of the, when I get new ideas, so I can just keep everything together. Quite often I'll just use one that I've purchased, but I kind of like the whole act of making something. It's fun, and I start thinking about my progress, my project that I'm going to create, and just kind of a fun process. So I just did the front, and now I'm going to do the back. So, and this is just, I think it's quarter or half inch tape that I got at Dick Blick. Okay, so then I just need to trim the bottom and the top. I like these little torn edges. And then I'm going to go ahead and just crease it one more time. Now, if you can, you know, do a painting on the top of this if you would like to do a little mini portrait. But if you're going to do that, make sure you put a coat of gesso on this. Okay, I think that I have this. I'm not going to put anything on this one. I'm going to take my chances because it didn't crack when I folded it, and I have all the gesso on it, but this one needs a piece. crease it down. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this so I don't poke a hole in my hand or anything. I'm going to take a pencil and I'm just going to eyeball. Let me zoom in for you. I'm just going to eyeball the center. Now, if this drives you crazy, then please feel free to measure. So I'm going to eyeball the center, and then I'm going to eyeball about 1 inch down from the top and 1 inch from the bottom. So I have 3 little marks. Then I'm going to take my awl, and I make sure my hands are out of the way because I have a lot of paper here, and I'm just going to push it through. It comes out through the other side, and then actually I almost forgot. You should probably clip it together so it doesn't scooch. Okay, so I just have a little binder clip there. I'm going to do the other one and move your hand and do the final one. And I have poked myself before, so be really careful. Okay, that's it. We just have those 3 little holes. All right, now I have my needle already threaded. And I'm not putting a knot in it, I'm just letting it loose. So I've turned it over and I'm going to go through the center. So this is the front of it, the back, the outside cover. I'm just going to go through, and hopefully all my pages will line up for this, come through. And then I'm going to leave a tail. Then I'm going to go to this top one right here, where the binder clip is, and pull through, but don't pull your tail. Okay, then I'm going to jump over and push it through the last one. Which seems a little wonky. It's okay, I can just, I'm gonna have to like play around with this little, okay. Just going through there we go. Okay. So now I'm gonna come back through the center. Back up, like so. Then you can pull it taut, and then I'm going to cut this off, and I'm going to pass it under, and then just tie a knot, or you can tie a bow, whatever you like. Make it as fancy as you want. Trim it, take it apart, and there I have my little journal. So I can sketch in here, I can put the color palettes in there, I can write and create my ideas for all the projects and what you're working on and what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And now we're gonna start adding just a few things to inspire us in this next part of class. So now that our little journal is put together, I want to create a little collage just to put on top of it. Now, you can do a painting, you can collage some of the images, anything that you want to do. So what I have here is a little bit of this Liquitex matte medium, just a small amount, and then I have some Yes Paste because I have a bigger chunk that I want to put down. So I'm going to start out by, I have a little piece of paper that I tore off of one of the painted pieces that I had in the beginning. Where is it? Here it is. So I tore a little piece off from here, and that's why I save everything, because it's kind of cute. And I'm going to just, I like this little frayed part that's on the back, and it's from a book spine, and I'm just going to stitch it together so that I can have this little stitching element. I'm going to try to anyway. It's pretty thick. There we go. Well, I don't poke myself. I'm going to put a couple stitches in it just to attach it because I don't want to put any matte medium over it.